Hey guys, it's Kim here with Fairily Fiber Fun. Thanks for joining me on another blending board tutorial. So last tutorial was just a basic intro to blending boards. This is how I do it. This is the things to look for. These are the things to consider, tips and tricks. And today we're going to explore a little bit deeper into the world of blending board magic. And we're going to work with color blocks or stripes or gradient. It all is the same concept regardless of how you decide to do it. So let's dive into that. But right before we do, I want to give a very warm welcome to new viewers and a welcome back to returning viewers. If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss new videos as they come out. And as always, leave your comments, questions, and suggestions in the comments below.
Well, we are all set up and ready to go. I have my green merino wool, my black Spanish merino, and set aside I have white merino with some more of the green dyed merino and all the same add-ins. So we're going to make identical Rolags, but one set has black stripes and one set has white. And then that bright green is Silk Cloud, and then the two colors of Bamboo, Firestar, and Angelina. The lighter green was the Firestar, the darker green, the Angelina. I want to do about 2 stripes of green and 2 stripes of black, and I just said that backwards. Pardon me. 2 stripes of black and 2 stripes of green. The tricky part with stripes on your Rolags or color blocking or gradient, for the sake of simplicity, we're going to call it stripes. For successful stripes on Rolags, where the Rolags are all in one piece and not in multiple pieces, because that's no fun, make sure to overlap your colors right at where they meet. Just overlap them just a little bit. Doesn't take much. If you're worried about it, you can overlap a little bit more. It's not going to hurt anything. When you spin these, where the colors overlap, there will be a little bit more blending than there would be if they were just right next to each other. But like I said, it keeps your Rolags from falling apart, so it's well worth it. And I even do this on the drum carder, so it's just the way of working with multiple colors in sections like this. So that is tip number 1. Overlap your colors with every single layer and don't do all of one color at a time. Like, don't fill up the board with just the black sections all the way to the top of the tines and then fill in the greens. You want to do it in layers where the layers are fairly cohesive across the entire board. The more even your layers are, the nicer your Rolags are. Once you get the bottom layer of wool on, it doesn't matter how thick it is, if you can't see the carding cloth through the wool, it's thick enough. If you can see the carding cloth, your wool may be too pale colored and you can see right through it. So, use your best judgment, play around with it, but I couldn't see the carding cloth, so we all good. So I do a decent layer of wool and then the add-ins, and that keeps the add-ins from getting trapped in the tines of the carding cloth where it won't come back out. We want these fun add-ins in our Rolags, not left in the blending board. You can use as many layers of add-ins as you want. You can put them in heavy, you can put them in very, very lightly. You can do it however you want to. I like to sandwich layers of wool and add-ins and wool and add-ins. And then however you want to end it, doesn't really matter. As long as you are overlapping your colors when you're doing stripes, your Rolags will turn out great. Also, I've noticed that overfilling the blending board makes it really hard to pull off even Rolags. So like when I pull 4 off the board, I'll end up with one really fat one and one really skinny one and 2 decent ones. When I don't put quite as much fiber in the blending board, they tend to come out where they're more even in size. Like if you weigh them, they would weigh the same. So that's just a little trick, a little tip that I learned from doing all these Rolags while filming this even, and making all the other Rolags I made in March. But it was a lot of fun. Now, you may notice, and this is something that I almost forgot to mention, I burnish the fibers down into the carding cloth frequently, and I do that with a dog slicker brush. It's just a grooming brush you can get at any pet supply store. Super easy to find all over the place. Notice that the handle is pointed up towards the top of the board, which is where I keep all of my supplies. I am standing sideways to the board. The top is the direction the teeth or tines are facing. So they bend a certain direction, they bend towards the top of the board, and you put your fiber at the top where the tines are bent away, and you pull down so that those tines grab that fiber. I hope that made sense. If not, go watch the previous tutorial because I explained it and showed it a whole lot better. So burnishing not only gives you more room to put more fiber because it's not all sitting on the top, compresses it down into those tines, but also allows you to see where there are thin spots that need to be filled in. If you leave a thin section across a little, like half of your blending board, let's just say right where my hand is, right there in the middle. Just say you have a little light thin spot there. When you pull that Rolag off, it's going to have a thin area and it's going to want to draft out when you take it off your dowels. So it is important to fill up your board evenly. You don't have to fill it all the way, but just even, so that all the tines have the same amount of fiber in them, give or take. There's always going to be a little bit of variation, but as long as it's fairly even, we're good. Always go back when I'm done on my final layer and go in and fill in the little thinner spots that I see, and I burnish very frequently to make sure all the fibers are getting packed down in there so I can see wherever there's a thin spot. I don't like my Rolags to come apart. I don't like them to draft when I don't want them to. I want them to look beautiful. I want them to feel amazing. I want them to spin beautifully. And I want them to be fun. So that's why I do things my way. But I always recommend that you experiment and play around and figure out what works best for your style of making Rolags and for your style of spinning them. Because what makes you happy is the most important thing. If you're not happy with your results, you're doing something that's not right for you. I'm happy with my results, and a lot of other people are, so it works for me, what I'm doing. And I hope that this video helps you make better Rolags that you are happier with in the future. Okay, and now it is time to use your dowels and roll the Rolags off the blending board. And you can do this in a plethora of ways. I like to get 4 Rolags off my board. There are times I get 3 and there are times I get 5, but I always aim for 4. My dowels are quite a bit longer than my board is wide, and so I have them offset each other to make it easier to pull the dowels out later. And it looks right now like the black was thicker than the green, but in reality, the black just drafted a little bit looser than the green did. And I'm very, very loosely rolling it in my hand. My hand is not putting any pressure on the wool. It's just smoothing those fuzzy ends and making the whole Rolag look a whole lot more cohesive. I'm not actually compressing it. Now, if it's super fluffy because the fibers drafted too quickly and I didn't get them rolled, then I will put a little effort into it, but most of the time I don't. So once you grab your fiber with the 2 dowels, twist them enough to where they'll hold the fiber, lift the fiber up, and then lower it back down and pull back. Roll a little, relax it, roll it, pull back, relax it, roll it. You don't want to roll it while you have tension on it, or that'll make your Rolags really tight and that'll make them more difficult to draft and spin. We're going to watch that again. Capture, lift, pull, relax, and roll. I just quit pulling. I don't make it super obvious that I'm relaxing, but I am. Sadie of Sadie Spincraft makes that a little more obvious. You want to check out her YouTube channel and see if her way of explaining it makes a little more sense to you. Her way of explaining how to make Rolags helped me to film this. So thank you, Sweetie. Thank you, Sadie. She's a really good friend of mine. And there you have your beautiful Rolags. You can leave them straight like this. You can roll them up into cinnamon rolls. Not cinnamon rolls, snails. Whatever you want to call them. Now we're going to do the exact same thing with white wool. So you can see the process again, experience it with a different base where you can actually see the blending board cloth a little bit through the wool, because white wool just doesn't hide things. It shows everything. It's easier to see through it, but you can still see the wool on the carding cloth. So I'm going to speed up the footage and put on some music and let you guys just enjoy this. But and then tell me in the comments which was your favorite, the black or the white. All right, I will see you guys in the next one.